Many of us picture the perfect home theater setup as an expansive array of speakers, subs, satellites, but what if we told you it doesn't have to be that complicated? Maybe a Nakamichi Dragon with 4 subs isn't the best fit for your studio apartment in a high-rise building. If you're open to keeping things simple and cutting to the core of what a soundbar is, just a bar, a standalone option like the KEF XIO or the Sonos Arc Ultra might be what you're after. I'm Evan from Rtings.com, and today we'll take you through 2 minimalist bars that prove you don't need a sub and satellites to have fun. Before we dive into the glamorous stuff, like how they sound, let's take a look at the bread and butter of any good soundbar: ins and outs, format support, and latency. When it comes to ports, there's not a huge amount to separate the 2 bars. Both come equipped with an HDMI eARC connection, but neither features a full HDMI in port, which isn't ideal if you like to use your bar as a hub between a display and a console. The KEF features an optical port for easier compatibility with older TVs, as well as a sub-out. The latter is a pretty underrated feature, letting you connect a sub of your choice for expansion possibilities, while the Sonos limits you to just their own subs. The KEF has a slight edge when it comes to format support too, as it's compatible with DTS-X and DTS-HDMA formats via the ARC/eARC connection. These formats are often used by Blu-rays, as well as some streaming platforms like Disney+. While latency is a little lower using this connection type with the KEF, it's not enough to make a meaningful difference, and we don't expect you to run into lip sync issues with either bar. Both bars embody the modern soundbar, packed to the brim with wireless connectivity options. They both feature your standard gamut of Bluetooth and Wi-Fi connectivity, as well as the less standard Apple AirPlay and Spotify Connect compatibility. The KEF is also compatible with Chromecast, as well as UPnP network protocol, letting you play back audio from a home media server. Sonos Ace owners can take advantage of seamless switching between their headphones and the Arc Ultra, useful if you hear angry knocking from next door while powering through a Fast and Furious movie. In terms of a controls interface, both bars feature a simple selection of physical controls built into their design, just enough to suffice if you lose the remote or your phone to the couch abyss. Speaking of which, only the KEF comes with a physical remote, while the Sonos relies entirely on the Sonos app. This won't be an issue for most people, however, some may struggle without the immediate functionality of a remote. If you're in the habit of barking commands to your soundbar, only the Sonos has what you need, offering built-in Amazon Alexa and Google Assistant support. While the KEF has done a good job of justifying its premium price so far with a slightly more complete feature set, here's where things can change quickly: the sound tests. Both the KEF and Sonos feature built-in subs that make the most of the manufacturer's proprietary tech. Neither can deliver the low-end oomph that a dedicated sub provides, but they're also a far cry from TV speakers. The KEF does have a little more sub-bass rumble than the Arc Ultra, but there's also a sharp peak in the high bass that can muddy things up a bit. Both bars offer balanced mids and a smooth treble range, though the Sonos is slightly better aligned with our target. Of course, these wouldn't be premium bars if you were stuck with the default sound forever. They both come with a raft of sound enhancement options, so you can tune and tweak your way to satisfaction. That said, the lack of a graphic EQ available for either of these bars is a little disappointing. However, the KEF at least features a few different sound profiles to choose from beyond the Sonos' usual voice enhancement and night modes. Room tuning is where they differ most. KEF's IPT, which stands for Intelligent Placement Technology, requires you to enter the dimensions of your room in normal mode. Or you can get to tinkering in expert mode, which might be overwhelming to some, but refreshing to audiophiles. Meanwhile, Sonos' TruePlay uses a test tone for quick calibration, though there also is a more advanced option. There's a clear winner when it comes to stereo soundstage, and the Arc Ultra's enveloping stereo performance takes the crown. While the soundstage is about the same width as the bar itself, the side-firing drivers extend it a bit further with Atmos content. The Sonos comes out on top when it comes to center performance too, with the discrete center rendering voices and speech with clarity and detail. Ultimately, the KEF comes a close second in both these tests by a gap between the center and side channels. This can cause audio objects to skip across the sound field as they're panning from left to right. It doesn't sound like much, but it's certainly capable of breaking your immersion. Both bars perform well in dynamics, though they have slightly different strengths. The KEF gets significantly louder, hitting 97 decibels, while the Sonos shows less compression at higher volumes. But if you're shopping for standalone bars, blasting the Jurassic Park theme at 97 decibels is probably a fast track to an eviction notice. Now here's where things get really interesting, as solid surround and Atmos implementation can really elevate a soundbar. The best bars raise the roof, literally and figuratively. Both the Sonos and KEF come with up-firing and side-firing drivers to help spread the sound field as tall and as wide as possible. When it comes to 5.1 surround implementation, the Sonos' side-firing drivers do a slightly better job of filling in for dedicated surrounds. They offer a flatter response in these channels, while the KEF's response is less even. We found that the XIO's high bass in particular was a little too boosted, resulting in some muddiness during a 5.1 playback in our testing room. When it comes to Atmos performance, however, we found that the Sonos lacks that sense of verticality needed for full immersion, though it's able to create a solid sense of width. The KEF performs better with this format. While the bass range lacks the low-end wallop necessary to make explosions truly convincing, it's still enough to have you gripping the arms of your chair. Overall, it's able to convey a sense of space in a meaningful way, with great tracking of audio objects from left to right, as well as a convincing perception of height. Build quality is another determining factor to consider. The KEF features a slightly more premium construction overall, with an exposed aluminum slab on top, which lends it some industrial chic. That's not to say that the Sonos isn't well built, but its generic plastic build is a little more run-of-the-mill. There's also the broader question of device ecosystems. When you buy a Sonos, you don't necessarily buy just a soundbar. It's a way of life for some people. The Arc Ultra could very be the beginning of a slippery, yet high-fidelity slope that leads you to picking up the sub-4 and Era 300 speakers to round out the set. Meanwhile, the KEF doesn't offer the same level of expandability. The sub output is great for connecting a wired sub of your choice, or a wireless one if you purchase the right adapter. But there's no hint of compatible surround speakers at this time of filming, which limits your options if you feel like expanding later on. Neither is totally devoid of bugs though, as we experience strange, hardware-related issues that forced resets. The Sonos app, also infamously, has some issues with stability, so we can probably call this even. So there we have it, 2 standalone bars going head-to-head for soundbar supremacy. As with many of our comparisons, there's no clear winner, just a series of trade-offs. The KEF has the more complete feature set and format support. It's definitely nice to have DTS-X and DTS-HDMA compatibility to ensure all your bases are covered, along with an optical port. Chromecast streaming is a nice touch, as is the 97 decibel top volume, even though it's a bit like owning a Ferrari in a big city, always cruising at 50% of its top speed. The premium construction and immersive Atmos performance are further feathers in the KEF's cap. Meanwhile, the Sonos offers a wider stereo and surround performance. It'll play nice with any Sonos devices you already have, and paves the way for Sonos to colonize your living room, should you so choose. TruePlay automatic room correction is also a nice touch for those who loathe to get the tape measure out. If you take value out of the equation, that gives you quite a few reasons to go with the KEF. However, at almost 3 times the price, the KEF would have to move literal mountains to justify its price. For most, the minor differences in the KEF's performance and features aren't worth it. That said, if it's within your soundbar budget and you're looking for the best standalone bar out there, you have our permission to go wild. Anyway, that's all for today's comparison. Are you a KEF XIO owner who thinks that we missed a trick or two? Or will you be adding a soundbar to your existing Sonos ecosystem? Let us know in the comments. Anyways, I'm Evan for Rtings.com, where we help you find the best product for your needs.